Hi, this is Amy with the Hag Reads. I am here with my daily vlog. I am going to discuss just one book today, but it is part of a trilogy. It's the second book in a trilogy. The third book is not out yet, and I have concerns about that, which I will address at the end of the video. It is September the 23rd, and I am working on my potential TBR for my 31 Days of Horror. Let me see. So it looks like maybe on the 28th I have planned to do a library haul video. Although maybe I can work one in a small one in on the 25th and talk about my TBR for 31 days of Halloween. So that could be fun. Anyway, now that I'm not done staring at my notebook, I can talk to you guys. The book today is Domino Falls by Steve Barnes and Tannarive. This is the second book in the Devil's Wake trilogy. And I guess I'll address my concern now. The second book was published in 2013 or 2014. It's been 3 years, and I have heard zero things about the third book. And it's very clear that there's meant to be a third book. In the paperback version I read a trade paperback size from my library, and they talk about the upcoming third book. So it's clearly there's a cliffhanger ending. They're on their way to a different location, and 3 years is an awfully long time for, I mean, it's not overly long, George R.R. Martin, but it seems like a long time. This is a YA series, dystopian, apocalypse, zombies. It's a group of teenagers, who have now, after the first book, they've gotten past a very deadly situation, and they are heading to what they feel is a safe place at Domino Falls, based on a radio broadcast. It is also called Threadville. There are people there called Threadies. It's not the extent of the community, but this is a cult who has a charismatic leader who it's part of the town. But by and large, the town is run by the cult leader, even though the townies don't want to really say that it's completely in his control. It really is. And so most of this book is kind of about the experiences they have trying to figure out what's going on with the cult, because they get there and they feel like there's kind of something else going on. And so it's all about figuring out what's going on. And they have a couple of members of their group of 7 that are believers of this kind of thready religion. And so I really liked the first book, and I was so pissed off at the end when I realized it was not a standalone, that there was a second book coming. Because when I read the first one, the second one had not been published. And since then, the second one came out. And so I'm finally getting around to reading it. And I get to the end and I find out there's a third book. And possibly maybe not coming out. Or maybe they just publish very slowly. I honestly don't know. But I really do enjoy this series. Despite the cliffhanger endings, I like the characters. I think they're reasonably well drawn out. It's a little tropey. The apocalypse is a little rapey, I'll be honest, but then wouldn't you kind of expect the apocalypse to be a little rapey given human nature? I liked the mystery with the cult. I liked the way they set it up. So it was just a good read overall for me. I would recommend the series, although you may want to wait until the third book's published if you don't like cliffhanger endings, because it does, both of the books end on a big cliffhanger where you don't know what's going to happen, and I'm kind of frustrated because I thought it was a duology Initially, I thought it was a single novel, and I got to the end and I was like, because it was clearly intending another book, and there wasn't one published at the time. And so I had waited a few years, and then I saw that the second book had come out, and I didn't really investigate. I just went, oh, the second one's finally out, and I read it, and I got to the end, and I was like, third book, and it's not published, and the second book was published at least 3 years ago. So frustration there, but I did love it, with all its faults and flaws. I gave it 3 stars. I would bump it to 3.5. For me, it wouldn't make 4 stars because it is a second book. It is a cliffhanger ending. It was a complete story in and of itself, though. I will have to say, it does not fall into that category of where, say, the second book of the Fifth Wave did, or a couple others that I've read recently and talked about, where the second book is just all exposition and is not a complete story in itself. This second book is actually a complete story. It's just clear that there's more to the story that you don't have access to yet. So if you like apocalyptic zombie, this has the zombies in it, and they are evolving. So you're getting an evolution of zombies, an evolution of the characters have their own arcs. But it is a YA book. The characters are teenagers, so there's kind of that angsty teenage thing going on. But they don't have any adults that belong to them. So it's this group of 7 teenagers with very little adult, supervision, so to speak, who are thrust into adult roles and to live in an adult world with, their childhood is gone. It's over. And it's interesting to see how the town is set up to deal with distribution of resources and how they're dealing with, what do you do in a world, where people may be old or sick or infirm and may not be able to contribute to the community, and how they dealt with that. So 3.5 stars. I definitely recommend it if you like YA dystopian or zombie apocalypse books. This is more about people than it is about zombies, though. So if you want, zombies chewing on human beings, this may not be your book because they've kind of got past that. This series is more about the human drama that results from the zombie apocalypse than it is about the apocalypse itself. And that is all I have for today. I will see you next time. If you watched to the end, thank you so much. Happy whatever time of day it is. Bye.